Gotta hurry, so I'm running out of time. All right, leading the square. This is a fun one. This is one of these kind of things that if you talk to your parents, they might have bad memories about. If you want to cause them some stress from their days in high school. So what we want to do is we want to solve quadratic equations, just a different way of solving quadratic formulas, equations, functions, whatever you want to call them. It's just a little bit different. So we go back to perfect square trinomials, which is just x plus or minus something squared. So we start off some basic, we say like x squared plus 14x plus something will make a perfect square trinomial. We want to know what that something is, and the answer is always to put this at the end. B divided by 2 squared. So in this case, B would be 14. So if B equals 14, then 14 divided by 2 squared. So 14 divided by 2 is 7. 7 squared is 49. So if that was my equation, x squared plus 14x plus 49, how could we factor this out? Well, what two numbers add up to 14 and multiply to 49? Well, that's just x plus 7 times x plus 7, or more simply, x plus 7 squared. So this is, when we say complete the square, that's the square we're talking about. So really, this should be completing the perfect square trinomial, but that doesn't quite roll off the tongue quite as well, okay? So for every one of these, the whole idea is to rewrite our equation so that the left-hand side looks like this, okay? So what we're gonna spend today doing is figuring out how to do that. So here we go. Solve the equation by completing the square. X squared plus 16x minus 17 equals 0. So let's put this on its own page with all of the steps we need to do. Don't freak out. I know that's 5 steps, but they're not that bad. So step 1, nice and simple. Move C to the right side of the equation. So I want to put this negative 17 on the other side. So I'm going to rewrite this as x squared plus 16x. I'm going to leave this blank, and we'll explain why in just a second. So if we move negative 17, we're just going to flip the sign. This becomes positive 17. And there we go. That's step 1. We just move whatever C is, bring it to the right. Okay. Second step, we want to add b divided by 2 squared to both sides of the equation. That's what we showed before. That's how we literally complete the square. So I'm going to actually, let's copy this down. X squared plus 16x equals 17. You don't have to write this 2 times. That's a little bit redundant, but for this purpose of having notes to look at, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to tell you, don't be lazy. I know we can solve this right away, but don't. It's going to help you tomorrow. We're just going to literally write b divided by 2 squared on both sides. Okay? You got to trust me on this when I say don't solve it immediately. Just leave it like that. It won't kill you, I promise. Okay? Step 3, simplify both sides as much as you can. This is when we're gonna do that now. So I want to simplify as much as I can. So I'm going to put x squared plus 16x. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 squared is 64. So it's going to be plus 64 equals 17 plus. This is the exact same thing. So if I put 64 here, don't recalculate it. That's still 64. Okay. We can simplify this by factoring. Since that's a perfect square, that's the whole point of this. Sorry about that. That was weird. So we can rewrite this. This is going to be x plus 8 squared. So every single time you're going to end up with a perfect square trinomial, right, on the left-hand side, equals, let me just add these together. 17 plus 64 is 81. And I will tell you for today only, all of these are going to come out to a perfect square. If you don't get a perfect square over here, something has gone wrong. Tomorrow when we do these, it won't be so nice. So this rule only applies for today. If you don't get a perfect square over here, go back, try again. Okay, because step 4 says take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to take both sides of this equation. Actually, let's see, can I bring this down a little bit so I'm not overlapping myself? There we go, perfect. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So x plus 8 squared, the square root of that is just x plus 8. That's the whole point. The reason we do this step is we want to get rid of the exponent. We want to get rid of the parentheses, make it something solvable. X plus 8 equals, the square root of 81 is 9. But keep in mind, I know we don't talk about this too much, but anytime you take the square root of something, you always have a positive version and a negative version. So x plus 8 equals plus or minus 9. And then step 5, our final step is we're just going to solve this now. So to solve for x, we need to get x by itself, which means we need to move this plus 8 to the other side. So we would do minus 8. So x either equals negative 8 plus 9, or x equals negative 8 minus 9. So every time you get to this last step, you're going to take whatever number is next to x. There's always going to be one number here. You got to flip the sign, right? Because you're moving it to the other side. You got to flip the sign. Put that for both of them, and then you're going to put the positive square root and the negative square root. You solve both of those equations. Negative 8 plus 9 is 1. Negative 8 minus 17 is negative 17. So our solutions are 1 and negative 17. And that's it. That's our whole thing. It looks like a lot. Once you do a couple of these, you'd be like, oh, Ellis, this isn't so bad. And then we'll get to the ones tomorrow, and you'd be like, Ellis, I hate you. And that's okay. I can live with your hate. So if you want to pause it, if you need to write the rest of this down, that's our steps. Let me see if we can color code this. Move C to the right side of the equation. That's the part in black. Add b squared. That's in blue. Simplify is in green. Square roots in red. Solve back in black. Don't sue me, AC/DC. I didn't mean it like that. All right, good luck. Ask questions if you need to.